Hey everyone, Tack here, talking to you about an upcoming game, Outriders. It's a new looter shooter from the studio People Can Fly, who previously made Bulletstorm. The game that gave us the line,
I will kill your dicks!
A game where you could kill people's dicks. Just download and install Outriders. First off, the demo's free, so if you're willing to spend some time trying it, do it. Costs nothing. And next, if you do end up getting the full game, you get to keep your progress, so you start out a little bit ahead. Now I know it's a looter shooter, and a lot of the times looter shooters turn into games where you're just fighting a massive health bar. Thankfully in Outriders, that doesn't seem to be the case. In the demo at least. While some enemies do have more health or armor than others, or have resistance to certain damage types, I didn't feel like I was fighting just a boring health bar. Enemies that are tougher are generally tougher because they have slightly more health, but more abilities or armor that you can knock off. Bosses do have a substantial health bar, but I always felt I was paying more attention to their abilities and when to use my interrupts and my abilities than staring at a red bar slowly fading. One thing Outriders does correctly is the loot. It's pretty interesting almost right away. As soon as you start getting blue tier items, you start getting gear that change up or enhance your abilities. In the beginning, you mainly get these from quests, but as you progress through world tiers, they become more common. In Outriders, gear isn't just a number that slowly goes up. When looking at new gear, I always care more about how it affects my abilities than the static number that sits next to it. Side quests often give you pretty good gear, and one good thing is you can replay side quests to get each piece of gear if you want all of them. So far with side quests, they've been pretty short and fun for the most part, usually ending in a boss fight. When it comes to abilities in Outriders, I've enjoyed pretty much all of them. There've just been a few here and there that I didn't really like. And the abilities themselves look badass. Whether swinging a sword through enemies that literally rips them down to their skeletons, or throwing a wave of flame at your enemies. You can only have 3 skills that you can use at a time, so what you decide on really matters. All that being said, I find the abilities that affect your bullets and just change their damage type to be pretty lame. I have no idea why I would ever choose an ability that changes my bullet damage, instead of choosing one that turns me into a pile of rocks I can hurl myself at enemies with. The main healing mechanic in Outriders is killing to recover your health. In the past, in a lot of games, this generally meant that there were a lot of weak little mobs everywhere, with a few bosses thrown in between, and if you killed all the low mobs before you finished the boss, you were just screwed because you had no way to heal. Luckily in Outriders, you gain health not from killing enemies, but from damaging enemies, including the bosses, and your abilities come into play with this a lot. There have been several times where I've been almost dead, used ability, and do a ton of damage, and I'm immediately back at full health. I really like how this mechanic works in Outriders. I end up keeping on the move, constantly using my abilities, and attacking enemies from different directions. It keeps the game fast-paced and fun. My biggest problem with the demo was the story. I just didn't really care. I mean, you got some cool visuals out of it.
Welcome to the Valley of Death, asshole!
But that was about it. Luckily, you can skip pretty much all the dialogue and cutscenes in the game if you don't really care. So that's pretty much it. Download the damn game already and start blasting people's faces off.